All right, we're on another non-typicals podcast. We're on episode number 19 with Justin Edwards. He's also part of Cervicide, and we're basically gonna have a bullshit session, just talk about what's going on, and basically that's how it's gonna go tonight. So just tag along and listen to some good stories, and maybe we'll even ask some questions to everybody. Just with archery season starting up and everything going on, he's in a different region than we are. We're in Northeast, he's Southern, so we're going to bounce back and forth some ideas maybe and go off of that. Maybe we'll start out with that. So, Justin, how are you doing tonight? And if you want to just give yourself an intro about yourself and who you are and where you're at and all the good stuff.
Nice. Well, I definitely appreciate you guys having me on. Haven't done a podcast in a while besides our own at Cervicide, but I was definitely excited to jump on, especially knowing you guys for a few years now. And I definitely support everything you do. But my name's Justin. I live in Florida. I guess you could call it like West Central Florida, a little bit north of Tampa. Moved here when I got out of the military. Really liked it down here. Wanted to kind of get away from that. I'm from Western Virginia originally, so wanted to get away from that cold weather. Definitely miss the mountains, but I really love Florida. There was a lot of opportunity for jobs and things like that. I've always been in sales, so there was a lot of opportunity for that. So kind of made my way down here. Well, it took me a couple years to kind of get into the hunting realm of here. I was your typical rutcation, just go up north, stay at the cabin, stay at the land, do some small game hunting, do some deer hunting, maybe go to bear camp, things like that, a couple of times a year. But really, I just fished a lot here. Amazing fishing, some of the best fishing I've ever done. And I fished in, well over 30 states. Absolutely love it. I think it's because we have a year-round food source. So I definitely love fishing, got real into that. And then I kind of ventured into more of hunting my home state, my backyard, when I joined Cervicide. I was a member of Cervicide myself for many years before I became the operations director here. And that was one thing it did, was it kind of pushed me out of that comfort zone of, hey, why don't you hunt your backyard for a little bit and see what you have? And then I realized that Florida had so much to offer. It's not for everybody, but for those that are looking for that type of thrill, I mean, we have everything from evasives, python hunting, a ton of hog hunting. The deer hunting, it depends what you're kind of looking for. A 2-year-old deer here is a good deer. A 2-year-old buck here is a good buck. A lot of the times, and there are some good deer that people take out, 130s, 140s, things like that, especially the last couple of years. But these swamp deer, they run a different way. So I know everyone says that about their state, but I definitely tell people, I'm like, there's a reason you don't see a ton of shows in South Florida. And the reason is because it take them 2 or 3 years to film it. Wouldn't even be worth it. So brought a guy down here this weekend actually for a hunt link. Got him on a nice 6-pointer swamp buck, probably 2.5-year-old deer, and he was ecstatic. And this guy kills 150s, 160s all the time. He actually just killed a 9.5-year-old deer last year, got it scored. And he was tickled. I mean, absolutely tickled pink. So definitely love Florida, love what it has to offer. And I bring people down every year. So I usually bring about 4 to 6 people down here to do hunt links. A couple we go after Osceolas on public land, and then we do hog hunts. So, even though I do a lot of Cervicide stuff, I also, Cervicide's a big part of my personal life when it comes to like hunt links and things like that. Because just, as you guys know, the relationships you make through hunting, I mean, and I say this in the most non-cocky way when I say this, I have enough hunts to go on the rest of my life. Like, I'll never have to worry about, what should I do next year? I'll never go on all of them. Just people I've met. And it's not even a trade for a trade. Just, sometimes you don't trade things. You just like each other and, hey, you want to go do this? Sure. So that's just a little bit about me. I plan on staying at Cervicide for a while. I love what we're doing. So that's kind of future goals there, but just an avid outdoorsman all around.
What would you say your favorite? I'll go first. What's your favorite thing you'd say you would want to you like hunting, or what you've done, like favorite animal, I should say, because you've hunted a lot of different stuff with Florida and going all around the country, with hunt links and all that. So what's your favorite animal to hunt?
I definitely would say turkey. Turkey is one of my favorites. I mean, I still obviously get the shakes with any mature deer or anything like that, but I really love turkey. I love hunting them in other states. I love hunting them in my state. I think it's something I'll never get tired of. I love getting people on their first birds or on birds in general. I got so many birds, I can't even put them on the wall, and, I let a ton walk. So definitely turkey. It's just something alluring about the hierarchy of them. Each area is different. Some of them are your roll up field textbook kills, and others you're over here hunting, stalking like an elk, stalking like a deer, smart, circling you like a bear, at a bait site or something. So I've seen a lot of different personalities, and I would definitely put turkey up there. Something I want to do, that's on my bucket list. I definitely want to do some bison hunting, but I want to do bison hunting. I know this is hard to do, but it just as free range as possible. And I understand it's like cattle and things like that and the way they're herded, but I've always wanted to get a bison, just something that's, allured me, but I also don't want to go out to a fence and shoot
Right.
some like cow,
And
so.
what I've seen from like a lot of bison hunts is like they're a free range like herd, and then they'll set up cattle corrals and drive them in there, and they might be a square mile fenced in area, but it's still in a fence. But they're free range animals. It's kind of weird. You don't see that with any other animal.
I'm telling you, it's just like cattle. It reminds me of cattle. I think maybe I'm more allured to the meat I'm going to get from it, just being able to harvest. I'd say like 85-90% of our diet is protein that we kill. So I think maybe I'm more on the cooking side of it as opposed to like the game in pursuit. But I just couldn't shoot something out of a corralled up. I mean, I could, I guess, if I look at it as just butchering cattle. But
So the only one I've seen ever that didn't look like really that was Lee and Tiffany Lukowski went to a bison hunt, and that looked pretty it didn't look like they were in a high fence or anything like that. But the question is, what's the price tag you're gonna pay for that hunt?
yeah, I made a couple connects that I think I can get some okay, but it's definitely gonna be something for the future. That'll be one of those mid 40s, late 40s trips where I can go for 2 weeks and sit in a cabin for a couple of days.
Yeah. So why don't we talk about some turkey hunting tactics? I know it's deer season time and all that for at least us up here, and you as well, Justin. But down there, it's got to be different hunting styles for turkeys, even compared to like what we see up here in the north. What kind of seems to be the average, like how, or maybe the average or the difference that you see, because I'm sure you've hunted turkeys up here.
So I would say in actually my turkey season, I enjoy spring turkey, but I do a lot of fall turkey hunting too. I do a lot of hunt links, so more so my fall turkey hunting is scouting and kind of setting people up for success and just kind of learning those routes that the birds are doing. Look at the hierarchies, seeing how many jakes are here, how many hens are here. Our turkeys, we find there's so many feathers. I don't know how a lot of other states are, but the way they fly up in the trees, there's always feathers. So if you're looking around, you'll find feathers. I actually have I don't know if you can see it, but that right there under that turkey, those are all feathers from this year. So every year I keep them, and then I pull them out, and those are just ones I find on the ground. And then I mark them obviously on Onyx. But I would say one of the main differences I notice, and I've been to I've been to one part of Pennsylvania and hunted turkeys, walked out there, sun comes up, you shoot the bird, you're back at the truck with coffee and going to breakfast at like 7:38. And then I've other ones, it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon and you kill a bird. Well, obviously not in y'all state, but a lot of other states that you can hunt all day. But I would say one of the main differences, people come down here and they think they can just start calling. They don't watch, Dave on the Pinotti Project. They don't watch Spring Legion. And they think they can come down here and just start boom, 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 calling. Some places work like that. You get a farm, maybe, that it's low pressure, things like that. But our birds here aren't a textbook type bird. I always tell people, if you get a bird that struts in and he's gobbling, like, go buy a lottery ticket after, because it's not the experience you're going to get. You're going to get sleeking and sneaking in, whether you're decoying or not. They're going to sneak in real quiet. They're going to be very curious, and then you're going to have to obviously make the shot. I've gotten probably well over a dozen people on birds down here the last few years. And one good thing about down here is our population's insane, which I'm surprised because we have so many predators, and predator hunting is not huge down here. We have long seasons. So I see up north, people start predator hunting because they don't got nothing else in. Well, our season's from July until May. So you can and then if you really want to hog and rabbit hunt, you can do that year round. So a lot of people do that, but I would definitely say that long season right there, it's great for scouting, because if you keep seeing birds in the same place, it's going to be good. But we have a huge bird population. I think, especially in my area. And I take people to WMAs all the time. My favorite place to take someone is where someone's like, that WMA's trash. And I'm like, let's roll. And we always kill a bird, because the ones that are trash or the ones that are hunted hard, those are the best ones for turkeys, because they push everything else out. They push the deer, they push the hogs, they push the coons, they push the, otters, everything that's predatorial, they're pushing out. And the turkeys get the WMA for a few months of quiet, and that's usually when they do their nesting and things. I love dog hunters for turkey hunting. I hunt turkey areas that are dog hunted harder than you could imagine, because the dog hunters run everything out and the turkeys just pop up in a tree. It's my favorite spots to turkey hunt.
So so what are the regulations down there? Are you allowed to dog hunt during your spring season, or is that just fall only?
So it's fall only, but our deer season ends at the end of February. So they stop running dogs at the end of February, and then turkey season starts the first week of March. So there's literally maybe a 2-week gap if you have one of those weird weeks. But normally there's a week and a half, 2-week gap before, and small game's open. So you still got people small game hunting with their dogs, because you can do that with quail and other varmints and things, hog. So
Right.
There's I'm not saying loopholes, but there's always some dogs running from Thanksgiving week until that March. And then normally they're strutting around and stuff. February, they're gobbling pretty hardcore. Most of the time when I'm hog hunting in February, that's the best time to hog hunt, because all the orange trees are dropping. So the hogs love the orange trees. They'll come out during the day, 1, 2 o'clock, don't matter how hot it is. But the great thing about that is the turkeys start putting their nest out, and then you're really able to see the hogs move up from the swamps. The turkeys go down into the thick stuff. You can see where their nests are. And they're usually on the nest, I would say, maybe the end of the first week, beginning of the second week. They're typically on that nest, which is great, because I just pattern the hens and just try to get with the hens as much as I can. Whenever I see hens, especially if they haven't split up yet, I try to get as close to I can to them and hunt them. And sometimes I get it done the first day. Sometimes I get it done the last day of season. But there hasn't been one year that I haven't tagged out on birds. This year, we just raised our limit to 4. I don't really need to kill 4 birds. So I could have killed a couple this year, but I just stuck with 2.
Wild that they would raise it. It's just wild that they raised it, because here, I think our population's going down. They even said it's going down.
Yeah. I mean, I was in Pennsylvania 2 or 3 times this year, and I seen birds every day, but the places I was, it was remote, and it was, I don't know. It ain't like here. You can't go a couple miles without seeing birds here.
So are you hunting strictly Osceolas, or do you got Easterns mixed in there as well?
So where I'm at, it's primarily Osceola. There are hybrids if you go a little bit north to the WMA. So if I go to a WMA, it's about an hour north, there are hybrids. If I've killed a hybrid, it would require a DNA test, because all the wings I have are black. There is a good chance that they're mixed in there, but when you put a hybrid beside one, most of the time you can really tell from them feathers. Obviously, it's just like that whitetail slam. I had a guy down here, he's going for a Gulf Coast deer. I'm like, well, in the 80s and 90s, they put, I think, Michigan, Texas, Wisconsin deer here. So really, that Gulf Coast is very thinned out. So I'm like, unless you get a DNA test, but it's more of obviously the fun thing. But no, Osceolas they're dark, man. I mean, they're black. I've seen some that were just solid black. That would be definitely a true Osceola, but our birds are kind of, I would say they're tall too. so they're more
Oh,
skinny
yeah.
and tall. You guys get them fat butter balls, them 30-pound birds. I think this one, like most of the records down here are 20, 21 pounds, like in counties. So, and I mean, that's a small bird or an average bird, an
I was
average
gonna
mountain bird.
say, I never really weighed turkeys, but what about you, Cody? You are around a lot of dead birds. What would you say the average weight is? Because usually, if we think one's over 20, we think that's a really big bird.
20 pounds is a big bird for up our way. The reason why I think though is because there's a lot more. I don't know. I cannot say they're more aggressive than down there because I've never been around them, but they're like there's less turkeys, so they travel more distance. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of weird. It's weird because I guess the difference is between there and here is there's so much more food that you know what I'm saying. There's farm fields and stuff like that. Down there, they're just eating bugs and that's about it. You know what I'm saying? Unless you have corn piles and stuff like that. I don't know what the rules are down there. I never really went down there.
I don't bait birds. I think the rule is you can bait them 30 or 60 days, pull it, something like that. I don't bait birds. I do have an AccuForage. I call it a kill plot. What I use it for though is from my poults. So a lot of my turkeys like to, on a piece of private that I hunt, they like to sit in the field so we don't mow that field, and they'll come out and I've got this little, I think it's a Grand Slam plot. It's not huge. I hand tilled it. And that's kind of my sanctuary. Like I don't shoot birds out of there, but there's a cow field beside it and we'll shoot them as they're crossing through. But a lot of food, they're always eating bugs here. Like I said, I do have that plot, but corn's not really. I had a guy down here hog hunting. I put a little corn out and we actually had some birds come in and it was season. So I told him to get ready or whatever. We took a slug out of his gun and put the shell. And that's the beautiful thing here. You can just pull the shell out. And so I was like, go ahead and shoot this bird if it's a tom and it comes down here. So they're coming down here and there's a little bit of corn there and they looked and they just walked right by it. And I didn't even expect there to be a turkey to come down there because I mean we're hog hunting. We're not turkey hunting. We're out in the open. I figured they'll come. They were curious, and they turned away and walked away. But it was two hens. But they didn't even. I don't see many turkeys down here. Maybe if they get fed corn often they'll do it, but we don't feed them corn, so they don't really mess with it. If you just walk in the fields here, those grasshoppers and katydids and stuff, they're year round. I could go out here and have enough protein as just a human off of stuff like that to like survive. It's just, there's never a shortage of food here. If it's too hot, there's food. If it's too wet, there's food.
Yeah. So like a 20, 25 pound bird's probably a big bird. Same here. The reason why I think also is like you were saying earlier, how much taller they are down here. They are taller because I got told they're taller because of the swamps.
Yeah, they do. They walk in the water. So
yeah. Osceolas, biologically have longer legs than most other subspecies of turkey.
That's the big thing. And then I got told another reason why their feathers are darker is because of what the heck are they? There's some kind of tree down south that it's like kind of like pine trees, but there's a name for them. I'm trying to think what the heck they are. I don't know what they're called. My buddy was telling me about it, but that's what causes them to have their black feathers because the sunlight's not getting to their feathers, is what I got told. But I don't know if that's the case.
Now I know in the cypress swamps, because that's where our deer also are. The cypress swamps. I always heard the same thing about deer, that their antlers are like that because of the trees down there.
That's what it was called, the cypress. That's exactly what it is.
Well, cypresses are great. They're your best friend. You can sit up in them and they're curved. They're bowl shaped. So you can curve and your back fits perfectly in them. They're the best turkey hunting trees because a turkey can come right beside you at a tree and won't even see you.
Yeah.
They're amazing. Bottomlands for sure.
Until you sit on a moccasin.
You get used to them here. I'm to the point now where I used to be sure-footed and just to tiptoe. Now I'm just like, whatever, man. The gators are what you got to worry about. I got in a tree stand a couple years ago and I was deep in there. I was dying. I was trying to get to the spot. Sun's coming up. I put my climber up. I put my tree stand up in there. I get up in there. I harness up. And I kept hearing hissing. And I'm like, what is that? And I thought my thermocell or like my water bottle like got a hole in it. And I'm like, what is hissing? And the sun comes up. There's an 8-foot gator under my tree stand. I sent a picture to my girl. She's like, don't get near that. And I'm like, oh, I don't even know where it came from. But when you're trudging through, I used to tiptoe. Now I just ball out. You just like, even when I took Adam this weekend, I was like, hey, if you want to wait till the sun comes up, you can, but I'm going down here. Here's your pin. I'm just go and just look forward and just go. And that's the best way.
Do you think a lot of them get spooked from like the noise? Besides the moccasins, probably they're not like that. They'll attack you. I know that.
Well, a lot of the times I think a lot of things first reaction is to stop, not to strike. Now I think if you dilly dally and you stop to wipe your brow or text on your phone or look at your maps, then yeah, I think you'll get hit. But there's rarely I don't see snakes. The rattlesnakes here are absolutely. There was one time where I thought one was a python. And I went to go get it, and it was a rattlesnake, and it took off. And if I didn't have someone with me, they never would have believed it. It was the biggest rattlesnake, took across the whole road, thick, rattled its tail when it took off. I was like, holy, like it was so big that I wear snake boots. If it would have bit me, it would have hit my thigh, and I'm 6'4". There's no way it would have hit my snake boot. I just don't see it hitting my snake boot.
Do you think it's a hybrid?
I
don't even know if that's possible.
Well,
but
I wanted to kill it.
Imagine.
I couldn't. I got to know the rules before I go out there, and I didn't know. And some places they're protected here, so like you gotta, like I'm not gonna be like, hey, look at this badass snake I killed, and I get to the check station, and game warden's like, oh yeah, and I'm like, oh. So I get real nervous about shooting snakes down here. A lot of people just shoot them and don't care, but I see Facebook stuff all the time of rattlesnakes, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've seen something that we weren't supposed to kill those, but
dead snake's the best snake.
That could be the best one. We usually just leave them alone. I just go around them. Maybe that's why I've only been bitten a few times. So it should be.
Holy cow!
As much as I've been out there, it's it's rough. So when people come down here, because everybody wants to come to Florida to hunt, I hear it all the time. Man, I want to come down here. So when we do hunt links, I'm as detailed as possible. I'm like, look, guys, love everybody, not calling no one a puss, but you gotta be ready to play. If you want to come here, sit at camp, drink some beer, smoke, joke, blah, 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 we can do that on the last day. But if you're coming down here, we're hunting because for one, we're taking time from our family. I don't get paid to hunt for a living, so I have to take time off from work. So with that being said, I tell people, I'm like, you got to come ready to play ball because it's hard. And I tell everyone, if you're successful here, you will be successful anywhere else. You can't see 20 feet in front of you. The wind will never stop swirling. The wind will always swirl. You never get good wind. The swamps are crazy. Elements change. Where I was hunting this weekend, it's been raining for 2 days. I guarantee you I can't get back in there. I guarantee you. No. That whole spot's underwater right now. Our water will go 50, 60, 70 foot up in a couple of days. We're below the water table. So everything's bowls and stuff. And when you're in the bowl, you don't realize you're in the bowl. But it does. You look at the tree markers. I'll never forget. I sent a picture of someone one time, and I had a turkey, and I was showing him, and the first thing he said to me was, bro, is those water lines on the tree? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, that's like 60 foot up. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, how is that even possible? And I'm like, Florida's a big funnel of water from the U.S. and from the Gulf and from the Atlantic. So all we are is a funnel for water.
Yeah. I've been to Louisiana and down by New Orleans River. The hurricane. The hurricane hit Katrina. I'm telling you now, man, it's nuts. Like a little rainstorm for like maybe 10, 15 minutes, man. The roads have a foot of rain. That's like, it's nuts. Like I never seen anything like it. Until you see it firsthand, you're just like, nah, that's not true. It's not true.
And I canoe to a lot of spots I go to. When I bring people, we usually go via water. And I tell them, like, when a storm comes in, there was a couple of times where I pushed it. And, I'm not going to say I put us in a dangerous situation, but it was a situation I probably wish I wouldn't have put us in. And, we handled it. We got through it. Everybody knuckled down and stuff. But when a storm comes in now, you get to cover like as quick as you can and just wait it out. Because there's a caveat to it. The expression we have here in Florida is if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. So, it rained this weekend, wasn't even calling for rain. The day it was calling for 60% rain, we didn't get a drop. You can't be mad at the weather, man. You got the Gulf Coast and you got the Atlantic Coast, and it depends who's going to win that day,
That's nuts, dude. Like, I've been stuck in microburst. I couldn't imagine being in the weather you got to deal with in hunting. It's microbursts are no fun, but neither are hurricanes. I guarantee that.
Hey, you know, I tell you what would be a crazy follow-up episode to this is Adam Tucker from Georgia. You guys probably know him, mature whitetail buck hunter. You know, all he does is kill old deer. And I brought him down here and he couldn't stop talking about this place. He's like, dude, it sucked. And it beat him. It got some punches on him. These bugs, our thermocells both ran out one day. It was hurting, man. We had a fourth quarter it, but you guys definitely got to talk to him about his experience, because he told me multiple times, he's like, I've heard people say it, but he's like, it's the terrain. I don't even think it's the game. I don't even think we can really give the game the credit. It's the terrain that gets you.
So the question is, though, is he saying he'll ever come back?
So I've had some people say they would never come back, but it sounds like he wants to come back. It sounds like he wants to come back and maybe do a turkey or a hog hunt.
Yeah.
But I had a guy come here not too long ago, and he straight told me, he's like, love you, man. Appreciate everything you did. You know, when people come down here, they usually stay at our house, or, you know, if I don't know them well, they can get a hotel or whatever. But most of the people that I do hunt links with, I've known for years. And I had this one guy, he's like, I had a great time and I appreciate everything, got him a bird, but he's like, screw that state. He's like, I'll never come back here and hunt again. He's like, it was not, and it took us probably 4 or 5 days to get his bird too. So,
jeez. I mean, 4 or 5 days, I usually go 30 days without killing a bird. So that's pretty good.
I usually normally I do about 2 or 3 of the turkey hunt links, and I try to get one each week for everybody. And then I get mine on the last week.
So I have a question on going back to the gators. I don't care about turkeys. You ever hunt gators? Like, are they around you a lot? Because I missed the beginning, but
yeah. So we do have gator hunting here. The way Florida works is, for a non-resident, it's about $300. It's a lottery system, so you draw by counties, which sucks because we have a lot of family that own private lakes here, and we can legally, if we draw that county, we can go out to it and be tagged out the first day. But what stinks is it's a lottery system. You typically don't draw your counties. Like, my county gets 3 permits, and it's insane because we're so overpopulated. Like, when I take people out hunting, I show them gators to take pictures of, just to kind of give them that thrill of Florida. And there's never been a time we went out, we haven't seen one. But yeah, and then out of state, there's $1,000 if you draw. That's what the non-resident is. You get 2 tags, no limits. You know, if you want to kill a fish stick, you can kill a fish stick. You want to kill a big one, you can. But what's crazy is you can't kill them with guns here. So you have to physically be touching the item that kills the animal. So harpoon, bow, with obviously fishing bow, knife, you can do a knife, you can do a spear, bang stick, because you're touching the bang stick on their head. But you can't kill them with a gun. So what we do is we gaff them and try to pull them to the boat, and then you can bang stick them or hit them with a knife.
Killing a gator with a knife would be absolutely wild.
I know you guys are younger, but you guys remember Crocodile Dundee? That's how you go, like.
That's insane.
Yeah,
like,
and
you always see those.
You
always see those memes that, like, about the crazy people in Florida, but like, when there's a law that you can't shoot a gator with a gun, that's not the people. That's the government's fault.
And what it is, I tell you what it is. I personally think that it's a revenue system. I feel like that they've put the lid on the cap just enough that it continues to bring people down. The population continues to get knocked down a teeny bit. It brings a ton of revenue, a ton of revenue. And I think what they're worried about is they open it up too much. Then you get people from everywhere else coming here. Because, you know, a lot of people, I tell them, like with Florida, like, we have a lot of stuff that you can't get in other states. So there are other gators, but everywhere has their own laws. There are some places that I don't even think you can get a non-resident tag. So it really all depends. And then you get some states like South Carolina, for example. Like, I know people that live there. Like, I know this one guy that just killed a gator. He just killed his first gator. He grew up in South Carolina. And I'm sitting here like, that's crazy. I personally don't get too much into it. Like, if somebody wants to go, I draw, obviously, but, you know, by the time you get the gear and you do all that stuff, it's just one of those, I don't know. And then gator season's right before bow season, and it's right before like dove and duck and early teal and all that stuff. So like you pretty much have to like, I kind of got to like pick and choose which, 3-4 days I'm going, and gator just don't. They're fun and stuff, but they just don't. They don't do it to me too much yet. I might change down the road because I'm starting to become more of a bird hunter lately than anything. So, I've been getting into more dove hunting and duck hunting and things like that, quail, but.
What's your, there's big gators there then? Like huge?
Oh gosh, dude. There was this one that they just killed, and don't quote me on this, you'll have to Google it, but I'm pretty sure it's about to take the state record. I mean, it's a dinosaur. We're talking forklift to the top, chain around its neck, lion mane poking out. Like,
yeah, it's kind of crazy, because like the swamp people in Louisiana and all those guys, they do like that gator hunting and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's how they make their living for the years. They kill all those gators and they make that much money off the meat and stuff like that when they take them to the shops. That's probably why they don't want to do that either, because they just don't want to be a slaughter fest because they make so much money off of it.
Yeah, and they're making, and it's almost like an attraction thing here. Florida's all about its attractants, and when they do hunting, they do it the same way. It's like an attractant. They want that lure of these little boat companies, and that's their bread and butter. That and Disney World. But I tell you what, those gator, and then too, there's a lot of stuff, getting raw and uncut. There's a lot of dirty stuff through the government. Like they pay trappers, they pay people to just kill. I know some of these WMAs and like Swift Mud and stuff. Watch me get like a knock on my door, my phone ring or something. But the government, they got trappers, and I've talked to many people that they're like, yeah, we'll go out to a WMA and just slaughter stuff, dig a hole and throw it in it. Like there's a plenty of stuff too that they're doing because they don't want, it's overpopulated. But when you tell people it's overpopulated, then people start wanting their hunting rights. They would just rather pay a contractor, which I'm not trying to take food out of anyone's mouth, but like, I don't understand why you couldn't just open it up and charge more money or something. I'll pay whatever.
They would make so much money if that's the case.
I mean, that's always what I've heard. I mean, I believe it because why not? What is it really unbelievable that they wouldn't send somebody in to try to wipe out hogs or too many deer somewhere? I mean, that doesn't seem unbelievable to me.
Nope. There's professional hunters in the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service that go. I mean, they're like sharpshooters. They just go and hunt. They don't care about the meat.
Yeah, I know. New York, they did that at what's that famous park that's there?
Central
Park. They had sharpshooters there because we have a guy that worked for them for a while for New York State, and he would tell us he would get in on it. They'd be like, "Hey, you want the meat?" And he's like, "Yeah."
So I know you hit on the quail a little bit. Do you have a non-stock population down there?
Yeah, we do actually. So crazy story. Started talking more to a couple quail guys here. I started seeing them randomly, dirt road, whatever. I'm like, oh crap, that's a quail. Very easily can tell it's a quail on the road. And I'm like, that's interesting. So I look up the regulations, standard regulations. I think it's something like 4 or 6, something like that. It's nothing crazy a day. And I knew people that did the stock thing or whatever, where you buy them and you can turn them loose, bachelor parties, all that crap, running their dogs. I've never done anything like that before. I've never been to stocked areas to hunt, especially birds. So that's what I thought it was initially. Now, at some point in time, I believe that FWC probably helped certain areas in release, but we actually, over at our land, I was sitting there this past turkey season, and I was watching this hen walk down out the corner of my eye, and I heard something beside me, and I thought it was another turkey. And I look, and I got 3 quail walking right beside me. They literally come up to my boot. I've never been as close to a quail before. Come right up to my boot, could have pecked it, and just walked all the way around my boot and all the way around the little fence I was at. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's quail here. Lived there for years, never seen a quail. So I've been watching the population, and there's dozens of them now. So that's why I put a bunch of AccuForage out. I've just been trying to make sure they have plenty of food. We just been leaving them alone, trying to kill the predators out of there. But from what I know is they're unstocked. I talked to all the properties within a probably 10-mile radius. They're like, I see quails, but they're like, we've never put none out. And these are old farmers. They're not hunting. They're shooting a pig because it's in their garden. They're not really out here hunting. They're working all the time. So Yeah, non-stock, and the WMAs went to a couple of WMAs and we bumped up some cubbies. So super cool. They're making a huge comeback. I think it's the terrain. I'm sure that FWC's probably done stuff, but they don't talk about it. It's not something you hear about. I don't hear anyone talking about it. You know, and you can only lose so many from local farms that run off, you know, and don't get killed. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think that's why I've been evolving more to birds, is because I'm floating to what Florida has the most of. So, you know, at first I started trying to do the big game thing, gator, deer, hogs. And then I'm like, wow, there's so many birds. And like, I'll be honest with you. I know people probably, there's probably some Florida people listening like, oh, I love birds. Don't tell them this. But there aren't bird hunters here like there are up north or out west. Like, I'm not running into someone and they're talking about quail hunting or dove hunting. It's just not happening. Even the friends I know that do it, it's the opening weekend. They want to get that trigger finger ready, get some dove poppers on the grill, and that's it. You know, you don't find a lot of the ones that are like, oh, we're going out dove hunting today, like every day or 3 times this week. So I have been migrating more to that. Obviously, they're good table fare too. But I think I like it more because it's one of those things where, like, I got a kid now. I can run out in the morning before work. I can pop a couple. I can come home. I can, you know, go after work. You know, my WMAs here, man, you gotta be out there all day. It's hard to just pop into a stand at the end of a work day unless you get off at like 1 o'clock or something, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that quail hunting's always interested me, and we don't have a I don't know what you call it, natural population of it anymore. They do some stalking. I think a lot of it's out east, but like the stalking thing doesn't interest me either. And, you know, maybe I'll head to Florida one year and go shoot some real quail.
Dude, you should try it, man. I'm pretty sure, I have to look, but I think they're bob white. Pretty sure.
Yeah,
I'll have to look.
They have white heads.
Yep.
And they're bob white. Yep.
But super cool, man. And the doves, there ain't no shortage of doves, that's for sure.
No, we did a dove hunt this year. That was my Make-A-Wish hunt. That was right after my surgery. So
Nice.
they all took me out, and what did we get, like 7?
I think we all shot one, but Taylor.
How many? Do you get 3 boxes of shell shot?
They might have, because we split up. We went with we had some other kids with us, and Gimpy couldn't walk because he's in a boot. So we kind of left him in a spot. We're gonna do a dove drive to him. And as soon as we walked away, we heard a lot of shots with only 1 dead dove. So I'm gonna say they went through quite
Hey,
a
I'll
bit
be
more
honest
than we
with
did.
you. I went through a good bit and missed a lot of doves. I was counting how many I missed, and I'm like, dang, I suck. And then when I smoked one, I was like, yeah, sharpshooter.
Moss's problem was he was trying to use an ancient single shot 20 gauge. It wouldn't go. It went off like 1 time or twice, and then jammed up. And he goes, "This thing's junk." I was like, "It is what it is." And they took the 12 gauge and they started racking them out.
I took my brother goose hunting when I went to Maine a couple weeks ago, and he had a single shot. I'm like, you might get it done, but you know, you're only gonna get 1 shot.
Yeah, he was just messing around. He was trying to shoot. I think it was grandpa's little 20 gauge is what it was. So that's what he was using, his grandpa's little 20 gauge. I think it was.
They're fun, man. Birds are definitely fun. I enjoy it. I mean, obviously, I still enjoy big. I think I enjoy a little bit of too much. People tell me I overload my plate because I did a bear hunt, came back, did a deer hunt, was supposed to go on another bear hunt, but we're like crazy elevation and we were backpacking in, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to backpack in now.
Nah, probably not. But I don't know. I think we should turn the tables to what kind of gear do you use down south compared to like what we use here? You know, like what's your setup for down there?
So Badlands all the way. I've had everything, but I can't speak to their cold weather gear. I know it used to be kind of loud from what I heard. I don't have a ton of their cold weather stuff. I have some, but the cold weather gear that I have for them is I don't really need to move. But yeah, I'm Badlands. I rock the what is it called? They just came out with the Endare, but mine's the one above the Endare. So it's like Algus or something. It's rated up to 90 degrees. The one they have now is 100. But I wear a long sleeve. Very big on covering my skin. I used to think the less is more, less is not more. You want to close the air conditioner vents, if you will. You know, you want to make sure that your body creates its natural cooling system, something moisture wicking. So, you know, their Cool Touch hoodie is moisture wicking. And then obviously have their pants. Now, I used to be huge into mud boots because mud boots, you can go anywhere, do anything. The only thing we know about mud boots are they're heavy as a mug. They suck when you wear them all day. It don't matter if you got the nicest pair in the world. You know, I've got Lacrosses, one of their newer, slimmer, slick brands, and love them, but they suck. You know, if you get on a trail or like I was on some hot sign this weekend, and you get on hot sign or something, man, you're hurting coming back to the truck or to the canoe. And I wear them every day, every year for the last, I've been in Florida for, 11, 12 years now. So I've worn them for a pretty long time. I actually just went to another pair of Lacrosses. They're the Wind Rose. Algorithm got me on Facebook. I kept seeing advertisements. I was like, these are probably going to be junk, but I'm going to go ahead and try them. I went ahead and bought them, glued them up or whatever, put a bunch of oil on them. Was like, all right, they're supposed to be waterproof. They're supposed to be their new state-of-the-art, like sneaker waterproof boot. So I went ahead and waterproofed it, wore it this whole weekend, and I tell you what, it was legit. I'm hoping it rained too this weekend. My feet were completely dry. Obviously besides sweat, they worked really well. So I'm not gonna preach on them too much because I just want to get through a full season. I could get back out there tomorrow and there could be a leak in it. I don't know. But that's real big with me is you got to keep your feet dry. And hunting in Florida, I always keep another pair of clothes in the truck, always, because I can't be wet. Like when we hunt all day. And if I'm wet at 7 a.m., I'm just not going to want to stay there all day. I bring an extra pair and Thermacell. So you got to have a Thermacell. I'm playing with some natural stuff right now. Scent Blender, I think it's a company out of PA. They have, bugs, obviously, especially, I know you got a biologist background there, Corey, but I know bugs, there's natural deterrents. Spiders, it's mint, citronella, it's bugs. So I want to try to learn the plant area in my area better and start using that scent blender to make my own stuff. But right now, Thermacell is king. I rock 2 of them. You don't have it, you will die here.
Have you tried Sawyer's came out with the lotion?
I haven't tried the lotion, and Sawyer's is actually about 45 minutes from my house, which is
they have a lotion now, and it looks very intriguing. Like it keeps mosquitoes and stuff like that away. I was looking at getting it for even here because it's not that bad here, but down there that'd be the test to see if it works down there. And you don't.
I'm gonna have to look into that. I've seen some things like I know Grant tried this thing where it's like a bracelet or a necklace, and then he tried this new pad, and he was like trash. He's like it ruined his whole trip. It was some new state-of-the-art stuff that came out, and he was like, it's trash. I was like, you should have brought a Thermacell. And then Odin's Innovation, which is another scent company, they have a synthetic one. They have a synthetic citronella. I haven't tried that yet, but I did order one. So I'll be we have bugs year-round, so I have plenty of time to try it. You might run out of bugs in like January because they're hiding, but they'll pop right out in a couple weeks. So, but yeah, that's kind of my setup is cover the skin. I can't preach that enough. When people come down here, cover your skin, because if you cover your skin, you're going to be more comfortable and you're going to be able to hunt longer. You'll be hot in the beginning until you get used to it. Then you'll get used to it. And then the being dry. As far as my pack, basic stuff, I just do the first aid kit. I got a snake venom kit in mine. Got that from Sawyer, actually. I have a survival kit because I have been lost in the woods. The thing about the swamp is when you're below a sea level, the canopies can block out your onyx and can also mess up your compass. So, I've been lost in the woods before. It sucks. It's scary, especially in the swamp. Old Sam Squatch out there. But that's kind of what I do. Lots of water. So I have a life straw that stays in my backpack always. In case you get lost. And then I have a Nathalgen or whatever water bottle. I think mine's like the 72 ounce or 64 ounce. I have the big one, but lots of water. Water always stays in the truck. And then peanut butter sandwiches. When we're out in the swamp, we're peanut butter sandwiches. You can eat a peanut butter sandwich and last all day most of the time out there. And that's about the setup.
What kind of tree stand do you use?
XOP. So I have an XOP stand, climbing sticks. Love it. I got the backpack straps from what is it? River's Edge. Gabe, one of our members, he works there, and I was like, I'm gonna try this. I love it. My backpack fits on it fine. There are some lighter models, like I've tried the Cold World that they just came out with. That's amazing. I think it's like, I don't know what it is, but you can hold it with your finger. Super light. We did a review on it not too long ago, but I might end up getting one of there. But I'm a bigger guy. I'm 220, 230, 6'4". So that little old dinky 6-pound stand ain't hurting me. The most I'm gonna walk into the swamp is maybe, usually what I do if I start scouting, I just drop the stand. I'm not gonna walk all day with that thing if I end up getting on trails. So I'll go to where I'm sitting. I got my pin there already. If I decide to go mosey, I go mosey, because I do more run and gun hunting than I do stand hunting. So I always take the stand with me, but here I like to kill on the ground. I love killing on the ground. You just have so much cover that you can spot and stalk like crazy. But yeah, XOP's been good to me so far. So I'll continue. I've never tried any of the other ones. I didn't try Lone Wolf or a lot of these other ones, but I'm sure they're probably just as good too. That's just that lightness. It's quiet. You never have to worry about metal clanking or any of that. So
Yeah, I think they're honestly all now to the point where it's whatever you feel comfortable with. And honestly, they're all about the same, honestly. There's honestly, for the saddles per se, we've already even talked about before. It's honestly honestly, I can't say there's nothing better or worse, you know what I'm saying? It's basically you just gotta find out what you want to spend, basically money wise, and then go off of that. Now I will say there's some sticks now. I will say that are a little bit lighter, but I don't know. It's tough to say.
Break your ankles.
No, I mean, I get it, man. And you know what? You're right. We're at a day and age where, and I'm not knocking away from any company, because there's some companies that are in the basement grinding 24/7. But I'll be honest with you, the competition gap nowadays, it's a thin line. I mean, it's just we got some innovative, smart people out there, and a lot of people, they're like, hey, I've went through this for 12 years. Let me design this. It's the same with XOP and Lone Wolf. That guy was messing with stands his whole life. Like, it wasn't something where he woke up one day and was like, let me start welding stuff.
Yeah.
So it took years of, decades of that stuff. But yeah, and Corey will tell you, I'm not a huge specific loyal brand guy. Cervicide, obviously, it's been a huge part of my life for so long. But when it comes to brands, I like being taken care of. So I don't like that crazy markup stuff. Like, I get you got to make money. I've done sales my whole life. I understand what profit margins and all that is, but I also understand what sticking someone, getting someone is too.
Yeah.
I think some people, they think that they have a name in it. Hey, if they can do it, whatever, man, kudos to them. But me, I like loyalty. I like the customer service. We get a good discount. That's why I like a lot of our partners. They always take care of us. And until I get proven wrong, I'm going to keep using them.
Yep, that's for sure. The setup I'm running this year, we'll just tell everybody like setups that we're running. I feel like that'd be a good topic to talk about for people. I'm running the XOP like hang-ons. I have those, and I do honestly. I don't discriminate on hang-ons because I have a lot of stationary stands. So I got the cheap big game like hang-ons that are like $40. They're like a captain or whatever.
Big games are solid.
Yeah, I just use them because they're cheap and I can just hang them up. They are heavy, but if I'm just leaving them in the tree all year long, what's it matter? I'm not going up and down. For my running gun setup, so I'm using either the XOP hang-on with I went to the tethered 1.6 this year with 8ers. They're pretty decent. Moss has not had a great experience with them, but I think it was just all an accident. I have the Mission platform, which is the biggest platform from Trophy Line. I have their case pack because I carry all my camera equipment and stuff like that when I'm in the woods. I have the 4th Arrow camera arm, and then I just run right now this year I'm running a standard Canon like handy cam, just a cheapo for this year. So that's my setup.
Nice. Yeah, I sometimes will run some camera gear. I've gotten out of it the last few years because I've been doing more running gun, but I do enjoy it when I take people. 4th Arrow is the way to go. Their stuff is just, I mean, they really hit the mark on that quality. I mean, it's insane, dude. The type of material they use and just the way it can be handled like it is. It's
Even with like the cheap arm I have, I love it. It's so much better than the expensive arms I've used before with other people. Like
Yeah.
I bought one of the expensive muddy camera arms, and I had their cheap batten one. And I told somebody the other night, he's like, what camera arm do you have? Do you like it? I said, I like it, but it's a cheaper model. There's nothing wrong with it. But I said, if you're going to get something, I'd probably get the medium price range or whatever Moss got. And he loves his.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, I'm just sitting on the ground now. I'm technically non-weight bearing. But me, Cody, Garrett, we all went down to the outdoor show, got the tethered sticks. That's what I fell out of, but I'm not going to say it's their fault, my fault. We'll just leave it at that. So basically, and it's different because I've ground hunted a couple of times, you know, late after work and just go sit somewhere, and I've had success, but never any harvest. But you know, being stuck to that all year is kind of, I don't know, it's looming on me, but I also try to stay positive because it could happen at any time.
You know, and dude, I love ground hunting, man. Ground hunting is one of my favorite things to do here with pigs, even turkeys. We ground hunt turkeys. Like I love ground hunting. But you know, obviously a tree stand, you get a lot more, you know, view, and you can see what's going on. But see, the great thing about where I'm at is that none of that really matters. So now I can see 20 feet instead of 15 feet.
Right.
But one thing I learned about the ground hunting, man, and this is just something that I've always taken with me, especially when you're hurt or like immobile, you just really got to know where they're going to like come out of, and then just don't move. And then usually I've had deer walk right up to my shoe before, you know, sometimes, and then I'm like, oh crap, and they blow and run off.
Yeah, I got like 3 spots that, you know, I've scouted before, you know, the injury, and I can get to them. It's just I don't want to go in there every single night and just ruin those spots. So like tonight, my buddy from the Hungry Hutsman, we went out to a brand new spot, walked around a little bit. We didn't see anything, but at least I got out.
Yeah, no, get out when you can, man, especially when you're hurt. Like I'm gonna rest for a little bit. It sucks because this weekend's supposed to be, I mean, like I don't even want to talk about it. It's supposed to be red moon, cold fronts all across the country. It's supposed to be perfect wind, like, and it sucks. I'm not gonna be able to go out. I wanted to go out Sunday, but I know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna kill like a 300-pound sow, and I'm not gonna be able to get it, or I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna hurt myself.
Yep.
I'm just gonna.
We're kind of hitting the hour mark. Why don't we talk about Cervicide a little bit? You've mentioned them quite a few times in the podcast. I know that's a big part of your life. You know, that's how me and you met professionally, and then, you know, I'd like to say we're friends on a personal level as well. So that's kind of what Cervicide is really all about. But why don't you go ahead and, you know, how did you get involved to begin with, and then how did that grow into your professional career, and, you know, just all of that stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm good on time. I know you guys got stuff going on too. It's cool. I'm pretty much just going to bed after this, so feel free to end it whenever. I'm no problem at all for me. So yeah, man, I you know, long story short here, seen the ad on Facebook or Instagram like everyone else. I think mine was Instagram. Field staff wanted, you know, you guys know the deal. You know, you see the ad, it talks about getting paid for content, talks about getting some discounts, talks about meeting cool people. So I'm like, well, shoot, that all sounds up my alley. I just started wanting to get into Florida hunting. So obviously, you know, I'm not a watch YouTube all the time kind of guy. I'd rather talk to you or someone else. So what I did was I answered the ad, became a member for a few years, ran a hauling company for a long time, and almost 10 years. And, you know, Cervicide kind of got to the point where they really couldn't hold it in their hand anymore. And, you know, I talked to Jimmy a lot, the current owner, and was like, hey, you know, I'd love to come along. You know, the last career I did, I had my profession was pretty much growing companies the right way, and, you know, kind of driving revenue in the right way so that it's filtering into the business to create more value. And I was like, I really think that I can take this, especially with my passion of it, to grow it. Literally went back and forth with them for a while, probably a few months. And, you know, we ended up settling on something we could agree on. Obviously, you know, a lot of people in the hunting industry, they think, you know, I hear it all the time, well, I wish I could do what you do. And I'm like, well, I work 70 hours a week, and make a lot less than I used to running a #1 hauling company in the United States. So you definitely aren't going to, I would say it's not going to be one of those things where I'm going to be driving a Tesla or something, but I make enough money to pay my bills, and we take care of our people. So that's the huge thing about it. That's something that's so important to me when I came on with Cervicide was, obviously you have to make a living wage, but you want to make sure that also the value is going back to the team. And me and Jimmy had the same idea with that. And I was like, all right, let's give it a shot. So I ended up jumping on, doing smaller things, content creation, things like that. I talk to people all the time. I'm like, I'm not out here killing 150s. I'm just a normal hunter. I've killed a couple of nice things, and I like turkey and bird hunting. Really, I just like sitting out there. I don't even have to kill none. I let 3 bears walk us a couple weeks ago, and people were calling me a nut job. And I'm like, sometimes I just enjoy the content I got from that. I can't wait to put it together. It's literally like, it was so great, and I didn't even need the kill. And I just enjoy being out there. So I think that's why I kind of took off with this so well, is because it's kind of more than a job to me. I really care about our team. We have 1,000 members in all 50 states. And there's a lot of value here. It's like most things, though. If you take advantage of it, you get tenfold. If you don't, and you put it on the shelf, it sits on the shelf. You buy a magazine subscription and the magazine don't get open, you don't read it, you're not going to get any value out of it. So I've been here a couple years now. I'm going on my 3rd year here. I ended up taking over from a good buddy of mine. He moved on to the fly fishing industry, so I kind of took his place, kind of kept the track of what we were doing, and we were just evolving more towards hunting community and culture. It's so bad the way social media is nowadays. Like I'll be honest with you, if I didn't work here, I would not be on social media. If it wasn't a huge part of my job and it wasn't the best way to reach people, I would not be here on it, because I think it's just a cesspool of crap. Half the people talking smack have never even punched a tag. And I just don't like that. Like, I get having fun, I get cutting up, picking on each other. That's part of hunting too, goofing and stuff, but also get like just cutting someone in half. Like, come on now. So with us, we were the change we wanted to see. So Cervicide, there's zero bashing. Anyone's welcome to come. Dog hunters, coon hunters, squirrel hunters, deer hunters, bow hunters, gun hunters, crossbow hunters. It don't matter. Everyone's welcome here. And if someone doesn't agree, they just agree to disagree respectfully. They just don't engage in it. And we've never had an issue with that. So I definitely take my job on a personal level. It's hard to separate a lot of the times personal in my life and my job. Especially with hunt links. I like to do hunt links on my weekends off, because I always tell Jimmy, I want to make sure I'm not working. I want to make sure that I'm enjoying myself, not filming. I'm not a huge content guy. Like, I like it, but I don't like all the other stuff that comes with it. Editing, all that, telling the story the right way. So I, like I said, I definitely plan on sticking with Cervicide for, a few more years now, at least. And I love everything that I've gotten through it. And that's one thing I tell about people with the hunting industry is, you got to look at the hunting industry as, I'm not going to get paid to hunt. No one gets paid to hunt. Even like we were talking about those sharpshooters, they're technically getting paid to eradicate that overpopulated area. Like, if they weren't doing it, they don't have a job tomorrow. So like, it's not like, oh, you can go out, I didn't kill something today, I'm going to get to go to work tomorrow. No one's lacing up their boots in the morning and getting paid to hunt. Now, that's a part of it, as you guys know, but I tell people with the hunting industry, if you want to get into the hunting industry, you have to do something you're passionate about. I'm passionate about our teams. I'm passionate about helping people grow in their hunting experience. I'm passionate about pointing people in the right direction. Being a leader where, people think the leader always has to have the right answers. They don't. They just need to be there to lead. So like with our team, people know they can come to me, and if I don't have the answer, give me a little bit, I'll figure it out. Even if I'm busy, I'll get to you. We'll figure it out. I'll make sure that I'm a good liaison for you. But, Cervicide's just grown so much from what it had started. It started out as more of a content and showcasing hunting culture and camaraderie. And now we have all that stuff, but the culture and camaraderie, I feel like, has never been a bigger time. I honestly think we're going to blow up even more than we are, but we like to keep the slow trickle on. I tell people all the time, if I wanted to, we could have 5,000 members here tomorrow. I guarantee you we could push out some crazy marketing.
I've just done 2 great hunt links already. So like we have a ton of content. We could get people in, but that's not what we want to do. We want to build it the right way, because then you really get that sense of family, community, culture, because the people that aren't meant to be there, when I say not meant to be there, it just isn't for them. They weed themselves out. They're not going to stick around on something they're not believing in. But there's just never been a better time to have that. I think so many people are seeing on social media, like they just ask a question, and now it's to the point where it's just a troll. A lot of people ask questions just to fire people up. And I'm like, if you're going to joke, that's one thing, but like the number one thing I hear, and this is always an argument I always say, the number one thing I hear is people always like, oh, public land, it's a Wild West, or oh, they shot that 2-year-old, or we all hear all those gripes. Well, maybe if you would have answered that question not like an asshole, that person probably wouldn't be doing whatever is annoying you at this point. They probably asked a question 2 years ago and someone told them, oh, you hunt in the woods, or, you know, you kill it with a gun, or they do that stupid responses that people do. And I get it. I've seen some questions where I'm like, man, just read it again before you type it. But at the end of the day, if that's their question, that's their question. Like, just let them, educate them, or move on. Because you start knocking people down, people forget that the enemy is at the gate always, and the enemy infiltrates. I know a bunch of friends that work for jobs that I can't really mention, and they tell me all the time that the other side is always in. You know how many people are out there hunting that don't hunt and want to get rid of hunting? There's actually organizations now, and I'm not here to start conspiracies or get us kicked off the internet, but I've actually seen public record documents of agencies that people support in the hunting world, and they fund anti-hunting. Like, I've seen these documents. Like, this is public record. They're funding things that fund anti-hunting, and these are hunting companies, or they're hunting organizations. So everything's money and revolving in hands. So when you got people biting at each other's throat over who's a crossbow hunter, and I seen something today, somebody said, if you kill a buck with a crossbow, that's not a trophy. Like, why do you even need to say that? Think it. If you want to think it and you want to be at bear camp and you want to joke about it, dude, go ahead, man. We'll all goof off about it. But these people are serious. They believe it. They believe that, like, and I'm like, if you really want to get technical, go kill it with a rock, or go kill it with a freaking stone arrowhead, because technically none of us are shooting primitive unless you're doing that. So
yeah, that's just what our world's come to be.
It's crazy, man. And you know, in the back end, you know how many things are getting, we don't even have bear hunting in my state. No bear hunting. And there's so many bears, huge bear. We have bear crossing signs on the roads. Like,
Yep. It's all about that money.
That money, man. And it's image, you know, it's image. It's, if people knew how to act and people knew how to treat each other online, we would have everything we wanted. Lower quotas. I believe the hunter would really win if they mounted up and just got together in a servicide sense. But the great, you know, one of the things is, much I want people to unite, we don't have a ton of competition, because I see people all the time saying, we're going to do what y'all do. And I'm like, be my guest. I'd love some competition. Then we got something to be compared to.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess one last question I have is, like, why should someone join Cervicide?
So there could be a lot of different reasons. We have over a dozen perks, everything from, you know, almost 200 partner discounts to educational resources to, you know, we have online virtual meetups, a minimum of once a week. We have in-person meetups. We have Hunt Link program where it's not, like I said, it's not just a traded hunt. Me and groups of friends have went to other states and DIY'd it. But I would say, if, you know, when people ask me why should I join Cervicide, obviously I want to find out, you know, what attracted them to it, just classic salesman, you know, progressions. But, you know, speaking from my heart and from what it did to me, you know, when I joined Cervicide, I was that hunter. I was that one that said, I'm not paying someone to give me a discount code or to give me a friendship. Like, I was that guy. I had the guy that tried to get me in. I told him no multiple times. I'm like, I'm not paying a subscription to have that. He's like, no, there's more to it, man. There's more to it. And he's like, just see. He's like, just keep messing around with it and just see. So I did. And I went on a trip. They were having a fishing tournament in Pennsylvania, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go. And I met the whole gang that was there, got to see the culture camaraderie. I signed up that day. I was immediately allured to it. Me and the guy that talked me into joining, we went on a fly fishing trip together. He's a fly fishing guide, charges good money to do it, took me out for free, had the best time ever, made great friendships. But I guess if I had to put a short answer to it, if you want to be a part of what hunting truly is about, so whatever it is for you, you can do that at Cervicide in a safe place while making the most of your hunting experience. So there's literally a million things for every type of hunter, from content creators to that guy that just wants to get his kid on their first deer. And then the resources. People say all the time, well, that could be free. All right, go do it. I'm telling you, it's not as easy as it sounds. I've heard so many horror stories where someone's like, oh, I met someone on Facebook and we went on a hunt. And I'm like, well, how was that? Well, at Cervicide, we have, I tell people one of the main differences is nothing's transactional here. So if you do a transactional type relationship or a transactional type anything, even trading information or advice, it probably is going to go what it would go if you did it for free or for yourself. What we have is we have a certain type of hunter. So, and like I said, I'm not saying there's a lower quality hunter, but we just have a high quality hunter of the people that stay here that are more willing, I think, to be open-minded with things. If it doesn't work out with people, we have no hassles here. Shake a hand. Sorry to see you go. I like to know what's going on, why you wanted to leave. 9 times out of 10, when people leave, it's just, they're not really utilizing the perks, whether it's time, family, whatever. We charge $30 a month, which is at this point, I think Netflix is almost the $30. So, I mean, what do you want to have, 50% discount codes or Netflix? I feel like at this point, the monetary value kind of pays for itself. If you're an avid hunter, if you hunt once a year, you might got to do a little more, specifics, on things, but Cervicide is just a great place to be for all hunters of all groups. And we have guys that work full-time in the hunting industry here. We have brand managers. We have all kinds of stuff, biologists, you name it. We got people deployed overseas right now. We have people in New Zealand, guides. I mean, we have everything. So the great thing about that is you have that all in one place, and us having 1,000 members keeps it enough concentrated, but it keeps that quality. Eventually we might get more, 15, 2, 3, 4,000 members, but we're always going to grow it how we continue to grow it now, so that we do it the right way. If one day we have 10,000 people, I want those 10,000 people to be quality, not, oh, it's field staff season, everyone jump on the boat, and start pushing our products, which that's a huge thing about us and other field staff programs. I try to tell people, I really don't like the name field staff, but we can't rebrand a word. Everyone knows what field staff is. You can't rebrand a word, not in this day and age. But what I tell people is, we don't make you do anything. Any of these other pro staffs, you have to do something. You have to share pictures. You have to do a discount code. You have to go to a booth. You got to do something. There's not many that are going to keep you around unless it's just one of those smaller companies that sharing that one post does help them. But when you start getting into companies like Mossy Oak, Tacticam, Vortex, things like that, you can't just be a regular field staff guy where you just take the title. And here at Cervicide, you can't get the title. So what you do is you get access to everything that we offer, the benefits, the perks, the hunting opportunities. And if you take advantage of them, your hunting experience will grow. It's 100% guaranteed. There's no doubt about it. If you take advantage of any perk that's here, you will get the most out of your hunting experience. If you do not, then you won't, so that's the best way to put it. And the people like me and like you, like a lot of other people, I mean, us being on this conversation was generated from us meeting each other through Cervicide and networking through the hunting community. 80% of my life, like I said, I want to stay here at Cervicide, but I talk to outdoor companies all the time, and I never thought I would work in the outdoor industry. I was not on the top 10 things to do, but now I can never see myself not being in it in some form or fashion. And even though Cervicide has my loyalty and always will, it's one of those things where the experience that I'm getting through networking is, that's one of the number one perks of it all. And people are like, I can do that for free. And I'm like, yeah, but there's networking. And then there's really like that quality of person that you're networking with. I mean, I got a guy I put on a turkey that's like, hey, come kill 170-inch bucks on my place anytime you want. And I'm like, what? For a turkey? And he's like, yeah, dude, for a turkey. I gave him one of the best hunts he said he ever had. And I'm like, honestly, that I wouldn't even rank that one in my top 10. And he was like, no, man, that was so amazing. I've got 170-inch deer. You can kill them whenever you want. How many people can say that? Go find me a free guy on the internet that's going to say that. And he's probably a loony, you know? So
Yeah, no one says that. So
I'm
I'd definitely go shoot his 170.
hey, I was there a couple years ago and it was out of bow range twice. And I'm like, dang, I think if I would have made it a week earlier, I don't think I would have got him. By then, I think it kind of knew the stand was there.
Aim high, miss low, buddy.
It was far. I don't take shots over 40 most of the time. I'm a little too patient of a hunter. I'm one of those guys where I'm a little too patient. I'm like, oh, I'll get them next time.
Oh, that's usually a good thing.
But don't get me wrong. When that finger gets to itching, it gets to itching. I killed a spike last year, and someone's like, man, why'd you kill that spike? I'm like, well, my uncle begged me because he said there's 8 of them running deer off his plot. So he's like, can you please shoot one of these things? And I was like, I sure can, buddy.
Yeah, done deal.
But that's what it is all in all, man. It's a great place to be. Obviously, we have to charge a fee because at the end of the day, man, I got a kid to feed. Lights got to stay on. They charge us to have a business email. You know, that's just the world we live in. If I was a millionaire, I tell you what, I would definitely try to do something like this for free, but unfortunately I'm not. You know, so I always tell people, you know, if you have any questions, it's an open book. Check it out. We got a decade's worth of resources. I hear it all the time. Oh, that's a scam. Well, we must have been a scam for over a decade. And if so, we'd be in the record books because I'm pretty sure that we're an accredited Better Business Bureau. We've been around for over a decade, almost 12 years now. So I feel like some validation comes with that, you know?
Yep. And I think it's definitely worth it. I mean, I probably don't take a lot of the perks because that's just not the person I am, but anyone's just available to hunt with me. I don't care. Yeah. You got anything?
No, I've done the Cervicide stuff and it's a good experience. It's just with being busy and, you know, the family, like he said, it kind of like deterred me to get away from it. Like it happens, you know, but eventually after everything settles down, the storm calms down. Yeah, I'll be back for sure. But like he said, and honestly, it's not a bad place. I learned a lot from those webinars whenever I had time to go do the webinars, you know what I'm saying? And it's a good experience for anybody that wants to get into it. And like he said, also, if you're new to the sport, these guys will tell you anything you want to know. They're not ignorant about it. Like you see on Facebook posts, like he was saying, I tried to bite my tongue because I've seen something the other day. Like he said, on Cervicide, they don't care. They'll talk to you about it. You know, they're down to earth people. They actually care about you. They're not from your area. I think that's the big thing. With, like when you're in these like PA group pages and stuff like that, you're gonna have the ignorant people because they kind of deter you not to hunt anymore because they think that there's less people in my area. Cervicide, there's guys like he said, he's from Florida. There's guys from Georgia, Illinois, Iowa. You name all across the country. The guys that aren't in your area, that's the big reason why you're seeing people being ignorant because they don't want you to hunt because they want you to quit. So then they have less people where they're at. And if you don't think that, then you're dumb. So that's just plain simple.
And you know, and I tell a lot of our rotation is like that. We have a really good retention with people staying, but sometimes, you know, people, flare off a little bit and they come back because, you know, I always tell people, like, I do want to know the reason. Like, I will be honest with you. I don't sugarcoat things. Like I tell people, like, don't give me some bullshit crap excuse. Like, tell me what's up. You tight on money? You're tight on money. You're tight on money. You're tight on time. You're tight on time. It is what it is. I'm not going to be like, oh, you're poor. You're a loser. Like, are you like, no, I want to know because I need to know how I can help you. You know, am I able to maybe take a little bit off the membership? Am I able to give you something? You know, maybe we can just reconnect another time. You know, at the end of the day, we're only going to continue to get more perks and benefits. Like we're working on some crazy stuff right now. You know, we're working on some stuff that's next level. And I tell you what, no one's doing it. And even if someone was to start doing it tomorrow, it's going to take them a long time to catch up to where we've got dumping out for people. And like I said, it's all about that quality. But, with Cervicide, it's you really have to, one, you have to look at the perks and go through each one and say, okay, I don't care about discounts. I don't care about webinars. I don't care about this. I work 70 hours a week. I don't care about this. But I tell you what, I'm going to Colorado next week because I drew a tag and I got 10 people on speed dial right now that you can call and they're going to give you pins. I went to a spot in PA for a wedding. Told the guy that I was up there, I knew a guy that was near there. I'm like, hey, man, I'd love to fly fish. I'm not going to jank up your spots. I'll put them back. Dude sent me over 200 pins. Caught fish 2 days straight. How many times are you going to do that on a DIY? You spend the first day or two scouting on a DIY.
Yes, 100%.
I went to the first spot I went to at 7:30 a.m. I caught a fish. First spot, because he done put me on the fish. And that's the thing. That's what the value of it is doing that. And people always tell me, well, what about spot stealers or this? It's that quality hunter. Someone like that does not stick around. They're just not paying a membership fee to stick around to screw someone over. Like, I don't know why the universe works that way, but it just does. The people that are sky me and want to screw you over typically don't invest in something, typically.
The big thing is you can just find another spot they screw you over. That's the way I look at it. I've had it happen before, Just keep on moving on.
Keep on moving. There's plenty of land. I one of my number one pet peeves, me and Adam were talking about it. I cannot stand when someone says there's not enough land, there's too many people. Now, in that area, there might be, but there's other areas.
The big thing is they'll get hunted to crap for a couple of years, and you go back there 2 or 3 years, it's going to be less pressure.
I mean, like I said with this dog hunter thing, when I first came down here, I heard the whole thing. Oh, dog hunters. Oh, they ruin hunting. Blah, blah, blah. Man, I'll get made friends with a dog hunter. And I'm like, dude, when you see turkeys, I will tell you where the deer signs are. I will send you the deer sign pins. You tell me when you jump out birds and stuff. I'll be more than happy to trade that.
Yep.
Just have to kind of leverage sometimes what you have.
Have you ever dog hunted with deer?
I have. So I have dog hunted. I did it because I'm just a big believer in you can't talk crap if you don't do it. I did bear hunting and I did dog hunting. And I tell you what, if I wasn't such a busy man and I didn't work 70 hours a week, I would have me 2 dogs yesterday.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I got so addicted to that mess running. We ran bear, we ran deer, moose, ran a blonde coyote. I tell you what, watching those dogs work, it's a lot different than you let dogs out of a truck, you stand on a road and you shoot. There's so much more strategy to it. Technology obviously helps a ton, which I kind of like the technology part of it because you can watch them. But yeah, I loved it. I will say over deer and bear, I think I liked running them for bear more. But I don't like shooting animals on the run. So I more like would rather tree them. But I enjoyed it. It was a great experience. A lot of teamwork, a lot of camaraderie, which I'm all about. Friendships, everyone's having fun, everyone's working together. Everyone's got a shot at killing it too. That's one thing I didn't know. I thought there were specific shooters like a drive. Man, that deer will run them dogs down and turn around and come right back to you. Those things are, people don't realize deer evolve. Like, I did a podcast with a guy on dog hunting. And he said this, and this can be, we'll get people shooting us on this one, but he said dog hunting's the most ethical form of hunting. And I looked at him and I'm like, well, you're going to have to explain that a little bit. He's like, because it gives the animal a chance to get away. Those dogs ain't perfect, man. I've watched videos on YouTube of dogs running a deer and that deer lays down in the grass and those dogs run right by them. It's not 100% foolproof predator prey donezo. It's just like us. Just because I got a gun don't mean I'm going to kill a deer today.
That's like people saying deer driving should be illegal. It's the same concept. You know what I'm saying? You know how many deer cut back on deer drives that people don't realize?
Well, too, look at the overpopulation. Like, we start cutting some things out like this. You think there's a population problem now? Wait till they're all dead in the creeks in the winter.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna get to the point where there's not enough hunters, and I hate to say it, there's gonna be diseases, and the population's gonna get wiped out like it is right now out west. Right now, they're saying how bad what the heck is it? EHG is so bad right now out there. Us like Iowa and stuff like that, people are crying about it. Which I'd cry about it too if I had that problem.
I'm with you on that. I really believe, and I tell people, I'm like, you think I hear it all the time, there's more hunters than there ever. I'm like, there's more hunters on social media than there ever has been. Let's get the facts straight. there are not more hunters. Well, there was an increase during COVID, an increase from crap to crap. Like, it's not, that's like saying, well, the economy is better this year than it was last year. Well, it still sucks. Like, it doesn't, just because on a graph it's a little bit more doesn't mean that there's an increase.
The problem is that also there is a decline in hunters because there's not as many people. Like the baby booming, like if you look at the Pennsylvania numbers, and it even shows baby booming years was like when my grandpa was hunting, and there was a lot of hunters back then. And now after they've all passed away, your number went down like 100,000, 200,000, which that's a lot of people. But you know what I'm saying? There's less people being born. There's less kids, honestly, I think now than there was back then. You know, my grandpa and grandparents had 10 siblings. Now you have like 1 or 2. So you mean that's why your numbers are going down. It's not because of people aren't hunting. I think the thing is, like you said, there's more people on social media, so people think that.
Yeah, they do. They do.
That, and I think our numbers are down because, like, back in our grandfather's age, there was a profit on going hunting. You know, if you went fox hunting or coon hunting, you can get $5-7 a pelt, and that's pretty good money.
Now you can't even get it. I think
the wages weren't as high, so killing a deer was a big thing back then.
Yep.
Now it's more of a fun thing, but I tell you what, when I don't kill a deer, it hurts my bank account.
So like the coon aspect is crazy to think about. Like my dad used to make a lot of money trapping, and that was even whenever I was young. Like I was like 5 or 6, and that's freaking 20 years ago now. And now our coon price for a coon is $1 for the guy that traps all the time. He said a triple XL coon, which is a huge coon for the tan, they wanted $1.25 for it. I think back then my dad was getting like $20-30 for a coon or something like that.
Yeah, I remember my grandparents talking about coons and stuff being $20-30, foxes, things like that. Well, too, and you gotta look at like
they paid for themselves to live. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was like a side hustle. So
well,
like,
and they had to hunt. So like back then, I remember my uncle telling me, like, if you didn't kill a deer, you better shoot some squirrels on the way home. Like, you had to hunt. Now it's like you said, Corey, it's like fun/sport, even if we are hunting. I'm honestly surprised there's not a huge overpopulation from so many people just letting stuff walk. Like I know in a lot of states it does help, because I've seen some states that were crap and they got some nice deer coming out of now. So management does work. Obviously, you can't argue with the facts, but back in the day, you aren't hearing somebody saying I'll let a deer walk. That's for sure.
That's even like down by you, like with the 140 inchers. I've heard stories of like people baiting like all year round for deer, not like whenever they can, but they put a lot of time and money into feed and stuff in Florida, and it's genetics for the most part too. But if you don't have the feed there and they don't have the minerals and stuff like that to grow the antlers, they're not going to. It's tough for them.
And it's true. It's we can feed year round here. It's just you can't do birds because of the federal. You can bait year round here for deer and hogs and all that stuff. So the places that I know that do kill those deer eat and they ain't hungry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like it's possible. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not that. And there's a lot more people, like you said, that are passing up 120-inch deer and they're perfectly fine with it, which I have nothing to with what you're happy with. But like the other day, it was the first time in forever, I wasn't hungry to shoot a doe. It was kind of scary. I sat myself. I had the shot, a 40-yard shot at a doe. I feel confident enough to shoot it. And I legit looked at myself. I had it on camera and everything. I was like, it's too freaking hot and I don't want to deal with it. And I said, what's going on? I said, this is not normal. I was like,
yeah, I get it.
I guess I'm maturing. I said, I guess the older you get, the more mature you are.
I think it's situational. So like, don't get me wrong. I get hungry to shoot anything because we eat a lot of game meat. We have a couple freezers. We eat a lot of game meat, but I'm like you. I do with how I feel in the moment. So like killing that, I killed a spike last year on a family land. My uncle was like, do it. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do it. And then I was the same as you. I let 3 bears walk and I let 4 does walk. Well, we'll call it 2 because I didn't have a shot at the other 2, but I could have easily shot one of those does. And I just was the same as you. I was like, well, my back, I'm 2 miles in here. It's pouring down rain. Do I really want to go ahead and skin this up right now? I'm really here to take Adam hunting. I kept telling myself all that. I was like, I'll just get some footage.
Yeah, and you have to have coolers where you live at to shoot anything.
Oh, you
I-
have to quarter. Yeah, you have to be ready. Like when Adam killed his deer, I was like, let's go.
You have
Like,
to go straight to the ice and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It'd be a pain.
no,
So
you
like
got
here,
to
like
hurry, dude.
so like here, I want you. I mean, I will, but I don't like really killing deer till it cools down. Like it was 80 degrees the night I could have shot that thing. I knew in my back of my mind, I'm like, I gotta skin this up. I gotta debone it. I gotta put it in the freezer at night. That's a pain. That's a pain if you don't have a deep like a walk-in cooler. You know what I'm saying? That's a pain. Now down there, you have to. If you don't, you're screwed. I
Dude,
guarantee.
you learn. I can skin a deer on the ground as quick as I can skin one hanging. Now at this point, I can skin, and I don't even gut. I couldn't tell you last time I gutted something. Ain't no point. I'll get in there to get the fish, but that's it.
How do you get the inner wounds? Do you just cut through the whole entire thing?
Dude, what I do is I'll gut, or I'll just cut through, just go from the back. And
yes, I mean cut through the back
our
strap.
our inner loins aren't that big, so sometimes I'll move some shit around and just kind of look or feel them with my hands, and if they ain't worth it, or I can get my hand in there and get them, our deer are a lot smaller, so but up north I'll do it. But yeah, I don't even gut my animals because I kill them and then they're getting back to the vehicle.
Yeah,
it's just no point. It's really no point. And yeah, people like it makes it lighter. Okay, it's 40 pounds lighter or 30 pounds lighter. Like I get it.
Yeah, you're better off just cutting the hind quarters, cutting the front shoulders off, cutting the neck off, and then taking the back straps and going. Honestly,
that's what I do. I do that. I go to the check station, check it in. They do all their jank, and then boom, you do it. If it's a check station that requires some, you don't have to.
I can't believe you guys have check stations.
Well, it's only for quotas, so quota permits. So each WMA has its own rules. We don't have seasons like November through December is muzzleloader. We have each WMA is different. So like there could be rifle right now at a WMA, and then it's first weekend of bow at another one.
It's just wild to me how it's like that.
And that gets people, man. They get hemmed up. Someone the other day commented and said, "When can I muzzleload at Croom?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's a 35 permit person one. You have to draw that." This dude's about to go out there and kill something, and dude, we're the game wardens. They walk right up to your stand there. So
yeah,
I was like, bro, you got to read these every time you see some people like read the brochure. You have to read the brochure because there's some that say no pistols on you during bow. I mean, you got to read it because you get caught with that. That's, you're looking at felony charges for stuff like that. Gator hunting, you cannot have a pistol on you gator hunting. I knew a guy, you take your pistol off, you put it on the middle console. Well, he was putting his boat in, had a gator, put his gun back on his hip just out of instinct. Game warden walks up, let me check your stuff, blah, blah, blah. Oh, nice gator. Everything was good. So what's up with that pistol? And the guy knew. He was like, shit. And he was like, oh, I put it on the truck. He's like, man, I gotta give you a ticket. Like, and because I mean, he don't know that guy didn't take that pistol out there with him.
Yeah.
And if you don't read that stuff, I was telling Adam when he came out, I live here, and I'm like, let's read the brochure real quick, just to make sure with gates and parking, and they change that shit and they don't tell you. So
yeah, they do. That's like this year. I don't think you have to notch your tags in Pennsylvania. Last year, the past 2 years, you had to. But I got to read the book again. It's like there's simple stuff that we have too here, changes year after year. That the best thing to do is just skim through the book that what you're hunting that day. Just before the season starts, and then you just read through that stuff.
Well, because at the end of the day, man, ignorance is no excuse. And I tell you what, I mean, especially in my line of work, like I can't get a hunting charge violation, right? It's part of my contract. I have to maintain, which I think is great, but you have to maintain, if I get any type of hunting or fishing regulations, it's in my contract that I forfeit my right to be here. So, I can't represent the outdoors if I'm doing stuff like that, or not even not knowing about it. Like it takes you 30 seconds to read a WM. I don't read it. I skim it. Okay. It says this time. It says get out of the woods at this time. It says you got to check this.
Yeah. 100%. There's nothing. It's not very hard. That's just all there is to it. So.
Well, just don't. If you're gonna get in trouble, I feel like, and this is probably the wrong thing to say, but I just don't want to get in trouble for something like that. Like. I feel like it happened, but like you didn't tie your shoe the right way, so now you got a $500 fine. You gutted your deer when you weren't supposed to until you got to the check station, or
like I think there's a deboning law now. Like when you leave the state, like with Adam's deer, I was like, let's go ahead and debone it just in case. Like, it's like you're not going to get in trouble for having it not deboned. I mean, for deboned. So let's just knock it out. It's 2 of us.
Yep.
We were tired. We didn't get out of swamp till almost 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, let's just do it. Just throw it in the Yeti. It'll last a couple of days. We'll be fine.
Yep.
Yep, for sure, man. All right, so we're pretty close to an hour and a half. You want to give us your plug, and then we'll kind of wrap this up, and so we can all go to bed.
Plug. Well, I guess, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't really want to plug too much. I've talked about Cervicide enough. If y'all want it, I was telling some guys I was with bear hunting this weekend or last weekend. I told them, I was like, I don't need to sell Cervicide. It sells itself. If you want to be a part of something great, do it. But main thing is I encourage people, create relationships, network, communicate. You ain't going to like everybody you meet. I've hunted with people I'll probably never hunt with again. I've got some guys that I'll never hunt with enough. It's one of those things where create relationships, get with people you like, get with people that have similar goals, interests, things like that. And even if you're a hermit, like I do plenty of solo stuff, plenty of solo stuff. You can still be who you are as an individual and do your own thing. But the main thing is that bigger picture of hunting is dying. People don't see it. I get it all the time. They're like, no. And I'm like, guys, I'm telling you, like the enemy is at the gate and they're just waiting as we tear each other apart over who's shooting a crossbow and who's shooting whatever, or traditional. So, I just encourage people to get out there. Even if you're not a people person, there's still plenty of opportunities in the hunting space. You can still be out for yourself. I know a lot of personal colleagues where I hook them up with business relationships or things like that because I know they're really good in their field. And these aren't people I'm hunting with every day. We're not hunting buddies. So relationships can go in many different forms besides just getting together and hunting. But, at the end of the day, I want people to know, like, let's remember what hunting's about. You can still have your goals. Like I said, I'll let deer walk and then I'll take a spike. Like you do what works for you, what's for your area, what's for your situation, things like that. And don't worry about what other people say, because at the end of the day, half of the people that are looking for validation and shot this out of their mom's backyard over a corn pile. And I'm not judging that. I'm just saying, like, there's so much stuff out of context. I don't care. I think a corn-fed deer tastes just as good as a public land deer. So, but at the end of the day, I want people to know, like, don't put people on a pedestal. There's a lot of context and there's a lot of stuff in the hunting industry. At the end of the day, you got to do what makes you happy. You got to do what's best for the animal and for your area. Learn your area. If your area is trash, I hear it all the time for whatever reason, there's plenty of land. Look at the United States on a map. Like, there's plenty of land. And some of it, I go to some places here in Florida and we're overpopulated. It's crazy. My old lady's a developer. There's 400,000 houses being built within a couple miles of here. There's people galore. And I tell you what, I can count on 2 hands how many people I ran into in the swamp, and we're in an overpopulated state. So if I can get off the grid, you can get off the grid is the best way I put it. You just have to get out of that comfort zone and get out there. But if anyone ever has any questions, you can always hit me up. My email is justin@cervicide.com. And then cervicide.com is obviously our website.
Yeah, man. So we definitely appreciate you coming on, and we'll definitely have you on as much as you want. We'll have to get another pod at the end of this. Well, your season kind of never ends, but we'll catch up with you probably beginning of next year and see what you did.
That'd be great.
After turkey sounds like a good one.
Yeah, I tell you what, before or after turkey, if you hit me in February or you hit me March and April, that's the good, because that's when we're dialed up. Pigs are hitting the dirt. You get to see a lot of where deer, because at that point our deer haven't dropped their antlers yet. So you kind of get to see like what survived, which is always fun. But yeah, the swamp's a great place February through April because the weather's a lot better. So definitely get me back on and we'll talk some turkey strategy.
Yeah,
sounds
man.
great.
Again, really appreciate it, and I hope you feel better. Keep us up to date on that too.
Yeah, I will, man. I'm gonna try to do the right thing. I'm gonna do what the doctor says.
Yeah, I said that too. So, but all right, we're gonna end it.
All right, fellas. Bye.